Hi, my name is Suzanne Delaney of the Irish Inquiry, and I was going to do a video on Capel Street last week because I've been there 4 times in the last month and I didn't get around to doing it, but now is a really good time to do that because one of those occasions was particularly eventful. And as all of you will have heard by now, there's been a guard stabbed multiple times on Capel Street today in broad daylight, allegedly by a non-native. The footage certainly seems to suggest that he's a non-native, although that has not been officially confirmed. I hope that guard is going to make a full recovery. Um, but I am not surprised that this happened. And when I talk to you about what I have seen in Capel Street and experienced on Capel Street, you will understand, if you didn't already, that these things are going to happen. So myself and Stephen from the Irish Inquiry went into Capel Street a couple of weeks ago during the really sunny weather, and we weren't there but a minute when he turned on his heels and he walked very purposefully away from me, and he had a very serious face on him, and I knew something was wrong. It took me a second or two to adjust to what was happening, and as it transpired, he had spotted a crime taking place and he went to intervene. So there was three Roma men in their 40s who were drinking very heavily from a bottle of whiskey, and they were trying to rob an American couple, and Stephen very loudly interjected and told this couple what was happening to them, and the men made their way off down the street, and they were trying to take something from our bag. We proceeded to follow them, which I wouldn't recommend people do, but we have a very strong sense of right and wrong, and we wanted to ensure that they didn't get away scot-free and that we could alert other people around the area to what they were at the very least. So we followed them down to some houses, and one of them proceeded to urinate on the street, which prompted an Irishman to come out of his home with a spanner and threaten this guy, grab him by the scruff of the neck and say, don't you ever, you know, take a you know what in the middle of the street in front of my children ever again. And they said that him and his wife said that they were sick to death of what was going on around there. And that's just around the corner from Capel Street. So we walked back up. We followed these men, but they split up, and they were deliberately trying to lose us. And they were not deterred because the guards on Capel Street, right? I will tell you what the guards were like. There was a female guard who was at least 7 inches shorter than me, and I'm 5'4", and she was very wide-eyed. She looked scared, and her male colleague looked tall only by comparison to her. I don't know how that woman would arrest somebody if she needed to, and I don't know if anyone's going to come at me with their DEI woke bullshit. Sorry for the language, but I don't know anyone who thinks that this is okay, that you would have a guard that is too small and not strong enough to do their job. And her male colleague would be totally compromised if anybody was resisting arrest from her, because he would have to intervene. So a couple of weeks ago, Gript actually brought to our attention that there was a Somalian man arrested on Capel Street for urinating in the middle of the day on the street, and he told the guards, your mothers are bitches. He got a €25 fine from a judge, and he was ordered to pay that within 12 months. Just outrageous, totally not a deterrent. It would be very interesting if that happened to be the same person who committed this crime. It's unlikely because there's a lot of desirables hanging around there. And that's the other thing about Capel Street. It's now become pedestrianised. It's absolutely manky all of the time. I don't know what the council are doing with taxpayers' money, but they are not putting it into cleaning the streets in town. And it's actually really embarrassing when you see tourists going around and you're having to warn them about being robbed. And the place is disgusting. It's full of squalor. It's like a ghetto. The seats that they've installed there as well, they look so cheap and tacky, and I imagine they cost millions, because everywhere along the line someone's making a lot of money in this country at taxpayers' expense, if it's not the commodification of human beings through the human trafficking endeavours that are going on. It's money being made from these tendered projects where somehow it costs 300,000 for a bike shed. So anyway, I had been in Capel Street the week before that as well, because my friend had said to my child, who's 8 years old, oh, I'm going to bring you into a museum. And unfortunately, because she'd already said that to my child, I couldn't really say, no, you can't go, because it's just not fair on the child. It's very hard to explain to them why they can't partake in these kinds of what should be normal activities. So my friend wanted to bring her on the bus and then on the Lewis, and I said, over my dead body. So I cancelled my plans and I dropped them to the door, and then my child didn't want me cramping her style, so I had to go off for a while, and I was very anxious because I do not want to leave my child with anybody in town. I don't even want to be in there with her myself. I don't want her in there at all. And I had another friend who criticised me for that and said I was overreacting, that how I felt about town was, just not the case. So they've been proven wrong today. And, just in general in town, up around Parnell Street, Dorset Street's only 7% Irish. Moore Street is a disgrace. It's actually so depressing. It's unbelievably depressing. And if you do not think there's a problem with what's going on in this country, well, then I suggest you take a trip into town and visit these parts. Don't go to Grafton Street. Don't go to, somewhere posh and affluent. Go to the other side of the city and see what is happening. I took a friend there recently just to show him, and he said it was like stepping into a zombie apocalypse. He couldn't believe what he was looking at. The amount of front businesses, filthy restaurants. It's just, sometimes I have no words to even describe what I've seen. It is just an experience you need to have for yourself. So go there, expect to be depressed, expect to be dismayed, expect to be shocked, and mind your bag, mind yourself if you're taking that trip. Our country's been absolutely decimated. I don't know who needs to hear that. It's just been destroyed. So that is all I have to say for now. And maybe you can let me know your thoughts in the comments. But if you're going to come at me with, the DEI stuff and the, you're a racist kind of thing, just know that I really don't care, because I speak the truth, and I will always speak the truth.